You should be celebrated for every aspect of your growth and your growing pains. You should be celebrated for your creativity, for your fearlessness, for your persistence and determination. You should be celebrated for all the effort that you put into building your future, for being different, for not being given enough credit. My point is, we often tear our youth down when we should be building them up. I'm lucky I was able to start the Clara Lionel Foundation in 2012. And if there's anything that I've learned, is that we can only fix this world together. We can't do it divided. I cannot emphasize that enough. We can't let the desensitivity seep in. If it's your problem, then it's not mine. It's a woman's problem. It's a black people problem. It's a poor people problem. I mean, how many of us in this room have colleagues and partners and friends from other races, sexes, religions? You know, they want to break bread with you, right? They like you? Well, then this is their problem too. So when we're marching and protesting and posting about the Michael Brown Juniors and the Tatiana Jeffersons of the world, tell your friends to pull up.
Resilience, you know, because that's the truth. The truth of what my life is like is that it's a series of problems every day. I've made a lot of mistakes. When I really boil it down, I actually think they always come from like underestimating the situation, underestimating what I really need, underestimating my own value. In my first company, when I set up ITB, I was always obsessed with what I needed outside of myself and thinking that I could potentially like buy that in, right? And then I remember when I opened my first office in LA, I woefully underinvested in that opportunity. So I've just made a point, and it's really like such a habit of mine now to really digest my learnings. Like every single quarter I write down like, what happened? Why did this happen? And you'll find so many commonalities in that. So I've been like very, very good at digesting the information that I get and making sure those things like don't happen to me again. But the mistakes are thick and fast. And listen, when you're doing a lot, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And I almost would rather have the mistakes. The thing that I worry about most is not making mistakes, is inaction, missing the opportunity, not taking a chance. And I've learned now that it's just better to take a chance.
I think I struggled for a minute with finding something to do on my own, and what was I gonna do? I knew I was passionate about makeup, but I didn't know I could have fun every day doing my job. I had an insecurity with my lips when I was younger, so I turned to makeup to help me feel more confident. I went to the makeup store and I didn't even know really what colors I was picking. I was just like, I want some lip liner that looks like the color of my lips because I just want my lips to look fuller. But I could never find a lip liner and a lipstick that matched, or even the right color that was perfect for me. So that's where the lip kit started. I was so focused on like formula and color, but everything else just kind of fell into place. I put so much love into everything that I make, and I make sure everything is perfect and something I would personally use. So then when I see my fans have it and they love it and their reaction, that's what's the most exciting to me. Starting a company on my own and it being so big from the beginning, there's not a lot of room for mistakes. Every company has mistakes. They learn from them and they change them, but it's probably owning up to those from the beginning and just being honest and changing them in front of everybody. I'm the face to my brand, and I take responsibility for everything that happens. I haven't learned everything from my mom yet that I know that I need to. She teaches me something new every day about everything. She's my goals, and each day I'm like trying to take it all in. She's definitely been a huge part of the success of Kylie Cosmetics. If I could give some advice, it's do something that you love. If you're building something from the ground up, like do something that you're passionate about. So you just have fun every day and you love what you do.
When I was 5 or 6 years old, I remember watching TV and I would see these commercials and I was watching other children suffer in other parts of the world. And, you know, the commercials where you could give 25 cents and save a child's life. And, And I would think to myself, like, I wonder how many 25 cents I could save up to save all the kids in Africa. And I would say to myself, you know, like, when I grow up and I can get rich, and I'm gonna save kids all over the world. I just didn't know I would be in the position to do that by the time I was a teenager. At 17, I started my career here in America. And by the age of 18, I started my first charity organization. I went on to team up with other organizations in the following years and met, helped, and even lost some of the most beautiful souls. From 6-year-old Yasmina Amina, who passed away in 2010 from leukemia. Her story inspired thousands to volunteer as donors through TKMS. Fast forward to 2012, when my grandmother, the late Clara Brathwaite, she lost her battle with cancer, which is the very reason and the driving force behind the Clara Lionel Foundation. We're all human, and we all just want a chance. A chance at life, a chance at an education, a chance at a future, really. And at CLF, our mission is to impact as many lives as possible. But it starts with just one. As I stare out into this beautiful room, I see optimism, I see hope, I see the future. I know that each and every one of you has the opportunity to help someone else. All you need to do is help one person, expecting nothing in return. To me, that is a humanitarian.
You know, honestly, it was never something that I thought about as a kid. I definitely didn't even know anyone who had their own business. I wasn't brought up around any entrepreneurs. I fell into entrepreneurialism, and it really came from, you know, I worked a corporate job for many years and I wasn't being paid what I thought I deserved. And as a 23-year-old, I thought, I'm sure I could do this better myself. And I just left and decided that I would set up on my own. And so that was the beginning of my journey. If I'm honest, I probably overstayed in certain places in my career. I would have stayed at my first job before I started a company slightly too long. I probably stayed and sold my first company slightly too late. And so I think that I've become better at that timing and understanding the power that comes with having the right timing as I've got older. But early in my journey, no, I don't think I got all of those things right. I think that one of the things I've really learned is that sometimes your first offer is the best offer. And you can often think that you need to wait for something better to come, and it doesn't always come. And so I think that when you're on a bit of a tear, when you've got the momentum, I always thought that you needed to build things until they were at the absolute pinnacle. No, it's actually when you're on the way up that you want to try to sell a company, when the forward momentum is still in front of you, not when you're at the top, because the only place to go is down, right? And so I think that just getting things on the upswing and learning when to exit is probably the biggest learning that I've had.
We all struggle with something. And when we struggle with things, they kind of spiral out of control from time to time. And I think that's what really happened with Kylie. When we got our show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kylie was 10 years old. What made it worse was all the bullying that she was at the other end of on the internet. Because the one thing that you don't want to shine a bright light on is the one thing that people start talking about.
Being on the internet, people will pinpoint every single thing about you and make you realize things that you would never realize in a million years.